Okay, this is a quick video, or let's say I hope this is going to be a quick video on how you can create a path that is getting to the closest point at each time. So you start off, for example, with a grid, and then we have a scatter, and once we scatter we have like this set of points. I'm gonna lower the value to, let's say, 500 points, something like this. And so the idea is that we can take, let's say, the first point over here, and that we are going to find like the closest in our neighborhood and then go further on. Okay, so how can we do this? Well, one of the things we should do is, first of all, we should do this over a for loop. So we have to go in an iterative way to find each time the closest one, and then make sure that this is going to be the next one in point order. Now it seems by accident that the first one and the second one are already very close, and it seems that they are all a little bit in the same area. So what I'm going to add as well is I'm going to add a sort node to mix things up a little bit more. So we're going to randomize the point orders, and let's see if we can find point number 0. I don't see it immediately. If you can find it, well, let's do it another way. Let's make a group for that, and let's say the first group that I'm gonna make is like this start, or is going to be the, not the start point, but we're gonna make a group of a point which is going to select actually the nearest one. So the selector, we call it that way, the selector. It's like with a creator and a selector. So this is a selector. Okay, so we found them. Next thing that we can do is we should create another group, and that's a group of the selected, because what we want to do is that if we have like one selected, is that we want to have like these points being removed out of the group. So each time we have like a new selection being made, it's going to be moved to the selected group. Selected, let's name that over here as well, selected, and the selected ones are not going to be evaluated anymore if we want to find our new path, because else it's going to go from this point and then back and this and then so on. So we want to find the next closest to this point, except from the one it came from. And then we have like another group, which is the non-selected group. Non-selected. And the non-selected, that's in fact everything. Everything except the first one. So how can we select that whole group? That is, we can do this by, let's select by range. Now we see from start to end. Let's set this back to points and make sure that this one also is set to points. The selected, and the pattern should be empty, so it's not going to be all, but it's going to be not all. So that's how we do that. If you want to know how this works, you can see for pattern matching. Now here we can see we are selecting the points, grouping by range. So we have the range, the complete range, so everything, and we select 1 out of 2 points. Now we can select 1 out of 1 point, so that would select everything, and we start from 1. So this would leave us with point 0 left out. And this one should also be renamed to non-selected. Okay, so let's create our for loop now. Our for each. And in this for each we're gonna do everything by number, and we're going to merge the results. And that's something we need to do. We're going to make sure that at least everything is going to be here. And in the end, the only points we're interested in are the selected ones. So we're not interested in the selector, we're not interested in the non-selected, we're only interested in the selected. Those are going to be the ones which are going to define our path. So we're going to create a blast node which is going to select the selected and is going to delete the non-selected. So right now nothing is in there. Okay, so in each one, what are we getting? First of all, I want to get this point, the selector. So again, use a blast. The reason why I used blast over delete, because blast is faster, it's a simpler method, it's just going to select one thing, set it immediately to point, so it works for what we have. So this is the selector, and we're gonna make over here the non-selected. So the non-selected are every point except this one. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make over here a sort node. And how are we going to sort these points? Well, we're gonna sort them to proximity of a point. And the proximity of the point is something we're going to take over here from last. So we're going to use our point expression, and like usual we're going to use a null for that, which I just didn't apply it, and we just have one point, so I don't need to write anything special. I'm going to use a position, and in this case the first index, and I'm going to copy and paste that several times, each time changing the index number so that we have like all coordinates. And now let me add just a null over here so that we can get it from right over here. So as you can see, this dot over here, that's the location, the point proximity that we have. So now everything is ordered in that same fashion. So now we have like point 0 over here. So what do we do now? Well, we're gonna blast this one away, and or we can do the following. That's something different. Is we're gonna group. We're gonna make a new group, and the group that we're gonna create is the following. We have over here 3 groups. We have a selector, a selector. Let me change this into a selector. I say that this is selector, selector. So we're gonna create over here again a selector, and it's again going to be point 0. So now we have from over here up what's going on. Selector, and we blast selector, that's correct. Where is he? Group type is points. Hang on. Selected. Selector. Does this in a for each. Well, this seems to be correct. It's probably a mistake while I'm busy working in the for loop. And so over here we have. I have to get out and do it this way. So here we have the sort, we have again the 0 and a new group, which is a new selector. And this one, this point, is also going to be in a new group geometry, and the group that we're going to create over here is the selected. So the moment on that this point has done its job, and the moment on the selector did its job, it's becoming a selected one. So we're going to merge this, and we're going to get over here also a group. So the selected points are going to be stored right over here, and in the selected points we're going to add like this new selected point, and in the end we're going to add right over here the new selector with the non-selected ones. Now let's see, do we have like over here non-selected? Okay, so a few things that we should make sure of as well is we should remove like all of these non-used groups. So if you go to edit and go to delete, you have over here the non-selected, and you have over here also the selector that can be removed. So now we have like only one point in selected. Always make sure that you set it to the right thing over here. So now it's correct. 1 point groups, 1 point in selected. Let's see, what do we have over here? We've over here like again lots of other groups. Make sure that those groups are also emptied. So we're going to add over here also a group node, and in here we're going to create select, or we're not going to create a group, but we're just going to delete the non-selected and the selector. So right over here with only the selected ones, right over here we've only have the selected ones, and in here we should have like the non-selected and the selector. Non-selected and selector, and selected should be removed. Okay, let's see. It's complaining. Okay, yeah, it's complaining because it was set to rename. Selected should be over here. So now we have 1 point in the selector and 499 points in non-selected. Okay, so we can just get them back over here, and we have this merge. So what we're doing is we're getting over here in this part the selected ones, in this part the selector, and in this part the non-selected ones, and it's going to sort it in such a way that we're going to get like a new selector. Exactly, we're getting a new selector over here, and in this case we're going to get a new selected point. So merging everything together, and we see this result. And so let's see, we're stuck at 1, so there's still a mistake. Let's see what's happening over here. So once we have this operation going on, it goes over here. As the 0 applied, that 0 becomes over here a selected one, and I need to delete over here not only the non-selected, but make sure that also the selector is being removed. So I can do this in 2 ways. I can delete the selected ones in which I'm going to delete selected and the selector, and then remove, and so like this we only have the non-selected versions left. The problem was that the selector was still inside, and so of course the closest one was the one referring to itself. So if we do it like this right now, we do have indeed our closest path. So let me create an add node, and let's see, by group, and so here we create a line. So if we check over here all the points, can we see all those points? Let's see, from normal geometry, template geometry, I want to see not the numbers, the markers. Okay. And so like this we can see what it's going through, and we can create our path, and as you can see it's trying to get like to the closest point. And if we have like multiple of these numbers, it's trying to reach them all, and sometimes it's missing some of those parts. So in the end it's going to make like bigger steps in order to get to this point over here. It's going to miss a point also. Let's see if we have 60. Yeah, it's going over here. 70 going over there. 80 going around like that, and so 500. We're going to see in the end a few big jumps, and this is normal because it needs to get to the closest points, and it's still got a few of them left. So this is a method on how you could do something like what was proposed on the forum.